Welcome! Join me today in my kitchen while we make some side dishes and some odds and sods. The reason that we're doing this is twofold. One is that my neighbor Christy and I, we're sharing a CSA this year that stands for Community Supported Agriculture, and it means that once a week we go and pick up a bag of produce from a local farmer. So we're helping support local, which is great, and it in theory was supposed to get us out of our side dish cooking rut. You know how you just kind of make the same side dishes over and over. So we thought with getting this like surprise produce every week, we would start to make some other options. But what has in fact happened is that we've gotten behind and now we have a lot of produce. So I'm going to be using what I have, which is a great thing to do. So that's issue number one that we're going to solve today. And number two goes along really well with that, which is that when Christy and I did our last freezer meal mega marathon, I'll pop the link for that up there if you want to go and watch us make 107 dinners. We made a lot of meals. We made some all-in-one meals, but we made a lot of meals where it's just like the meat in the marinade or just the main protein. So I've got a lot of dishes in my freezer right now where I would actually have to come up with a side that day and make it fresh. And my life is such that that's challenging. So if I make the side dishes ahead and get them in the freezer, then I'm more likely to use those meat and marinades and not leave them to the end like I usually do. So today, making these side dishes is going to help me out a ton, and hopefully it will help give you some ideas of some side dishes that you might be able to make ahead. We're also going to make some things that I just happen to need, and since it's a day that I can spend in the kitchen, or a few hours that I can spend in the kitchen, we'll finish this up another day, but we'll get a good start today. This is a great way to go. Here is some of what we've gotten in our CSA bags. We also got this lovely pumpkin, but we're not going to be doing anything with that today. We are, however, going to be doing something with the beets, the carrots, the butternut squash, and right now, this very minute, I have some sweet potatoes that are in the oven. When I do my sweet potatoes in the oven to cook them, what I do is I laid some foil down because they tend to drip and I don't want to get a giant mess in the bottom of the oven. So I lay some foil down on the rack below, and then I set my sweet potatoes just directly on the rack. And when they're done, I'm actually going to place them on the foil. I'll take the foil out and put it on the stove top, and then I'll place them on the foil so that I can take them out of their skins and then wrap the skin in the foil and throw it out so that I don't have a mess on the stove top either. It's just my little system. It works well for me. So that's already going. That's going to be for a sweet potato casserole, which is amazing. It's so delicious, and it's going to be a side dish that's super handy to have. And I'm going to get started on the beets, the carrots, and the butternut squash, not all at once. For the butternut squash, what I want to do is make an omelette filling. I've made it before, and it was a suggestion that came from one of our viewers who's in our Facebook group, and she was making omelet fillings for the freezer, and I've been doing it ever since. Love it. But my favorite one that I've ever made is a roasted butternut squash and sage. It's so good. And then when you make the omelet, you add the egg and some Parmesan cheese, salt and pepper, that's it. It's healthy. It's delicious. It's a great way to start the day. Feels like you're at a fancy restaurant and really you're just in your kitchen. So today we are going to get the butternut squash cubed and peeled, but we're not going to be able to roast it today because when I went to the grocery store yesterday, they were out of sage and I didn't grow any this year, so I'm going to have to wait till I can pick up some sage at a different grocery store, hopefully today or tomorrow, and then we'll finish this off and get it in the freezer. But today, while we're chopping vegetables, while we have our cutting board out, we might as well go ahead and do this. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to microwave this just whole like this for 1 or 2 minutes just to help soften it, because These are a bit of a pain to cut. I don't know if you've ever tried to cut a butternut squash, but they're not that fun to cut. So if you can soften it a little bit, it just makes your job a little bit easier. One tip that I have for you is to get out a bowl for me, it's a compost bowl, because we live in the country and we have a compost pile at the back. So I can take this out to the compost pile later, but if you want to use it as your garbage bowl, you can do that. This way you're not running back and forth to the garbage, or in my case, back and forth to the compost, which would be quite a trek. So we're gonna cut our butternut squash here. It is a little bit softened. I have no idea how to cut a butternut squash. I understand this is supposed to be a cooking channel. I'm looking at this and I'm like, I'm realizing now that I'm doing this on camera that I should probably know what I'm doing. No idea, like none. I don't know, like, do you cut the ends off and then do you cut it this way? I think you cut it this way, but I don't actually have any idea. So, I don't know. I know, like, in the comments there's gonna be like, don't do that, but I don't know what I'm doing. No idea. Became acutely aware that I didn't know what I was doing when I looked up and saw you and realized you're watching me. And yeah, no clue here. Okay, so we've cut off both our ends. That's as far as I know. And I don't even know if I did that right. But we are gonna peel it. And then we're just gonna kind of see what happens. I don't know. Maybe I was gonna cut it down this way, but I don't think my knife is big enough. I just think that's not gonna go very well. I think that's how you're supposed to do it, but I don't think that's gonna go very well. So I think we're gonna cut ours like this. Sure. And then like this? I should have probably peeled it off first. Oh my goodness. Do as I say and not as I do. I don't even know. This time it's not even do as I say, because I don't even know. But anyway, we're having fun while we do it. So I have a story for you, and it's a long story. I apologize. But it's a cool story, and it's an important one. Many months ago, back in, I believe it was April, I went to Nashville, actually with a friend of my husband's, or someone who works with my husband. My husband's a mortgage broker, and she was going to a mortgage conference, and she was mentioning to my husband that her husband wasn't able to go because he's a teacher and he was working at the time. So she was looking for a friend to go with, and my husband was like, you should take my wife, because she's always wanted to go to Nashville. And she did. So it was awesome. It was a great way to get to know somebody, spend 6 days in a hotel with them, and attend a mortgage conference without your husband, who's a mortgage broker. It's kind of an interesting thing. But the part where it got really amazing is, honestly, the whole entire trip was amazing. The whole thing from when we arrived to when we left was just incredible. But where it went off of where I expected it to go is she had gotten us tickets to a singer-songwriter showcase, at the Country Music Hall of Fame. And that is something that's right up my alley, because I am a lyrics person. I love story, I love lyrics. Melody is okay, but really when it comes to songs, I'm someone that really just goes, right away I'm listening to the lyrics. And if the lyrics tell a story, even better. And if you've watched the channel a while, you know I also love books, I love storytelling, all of that. So this singer-songwriter showcase was just so incredible. It's kind of an intimate setting. It's a small room. There were 4 songwriters, and they would share how they came to write a story, or how they came to write a song, like the story behind the song. And so, oh my goodness, the whole time was in awe, and also just felt so privileged to be in this room and be able to hear the stories behind these songs. And a lot of them are songs that aren't necessarily famous. Some of them are songs that have been recorded by country artists, but mostly it was just them sharing the stories behind the songs and singing the songs, and it really felt like this behind the scenes, like, beautiful look into their brains and how they came up with the lyrics. So I loved every minute of it. But the very last song, I'm going to put this down for a minute because I want to actually tell you this story. The very last song was sung by an artist named Seth Kostner, and he introduced the song by saying something about, I forget his exact words, but Nashville being known as a drinking town with a country problem. And we had actually been out the night before and certainly seen our share of partying at the bars and things like that. And so I do think there's probably a culture there of a lot of partying and drinking. But when he started singing the song, pretty much from the first word, it grabbed me, because addiction is something that has touched my life. There's someone really close to me who struggles with addiction, and I'm sure that I'm not alone in this. I know that some of you have struggled with addiction yourself, or some of you love someone who struggles or has struggled with addiction. And I sat there listening to this song, and the way that it told the story so intimately, so vulnerably, but also with so much hope. And the song gave me hope. When the song ended, I was in my seat with tears streaming down my face. And this poor friend of my husband sitting beside me, who at the time didn't know me very well, but does know me well now, must have felt a little bit helpless about what to do, or a little bit confused. But she was very supportive and kind. And it actually took me a few minutes to compose myself, because the song touched me so much. I had taken a napkin that was in my purse, and I had written down the name of the song and the name of the artist, and knew that the minute that I got back to my hotel room, I would be downloading this song to my Spotify account, and that I would listen to this song in the future to help me to hold on to that hope. Sometimes music, it's so powerful, and sometimes it can help us to see the future, to see what we want, to hold on to dreams, I know I'm rambling a bit here. I think the thing about it is that for me, this song was very personal. For me, being in that room and getting to hear it in such a small setting, it felt like I was meant to be there. It felt like this was a gift from God that I happened to be in Nashville on that date. The date also held tremendous significance. It was the birthday of this person that I love who struggles. So it was just an incredibly powerful moment. A whole series of events happened because I was sitting in and needed time to compose myself. And so the usher came along, and she ended up chatting with us about, if you like this, you might like the listening room, which we went to, and then ended up that night seeing Trisha Yearwood in a small setting. So it was this whole series of events that happened that really led to incredible things. But the point is that when I got back to my room that night, I looked this song up, and it didn't exist. I could not find it. It wasn't on Spotify. I couldn't Google it. I did find the artist by Googling, but I was not able to find this song. And I needed this song. Like, this just, I selfishly needed this song, but also I understood that this song, if it had the power to give me hope and to make me feel so many different emotions, then it could do the same for others. And I knew that because addiction is so far-reaching, there's almost no one that I know that doesn't know someone or love someone who is struggling or has struggled with addiction. I knew that this song needed to be made. And I'm just this Canadian mom who teaches people to freezer cook. Like, I'm not in the music industry. I'm actually tone deaf. I can't sing. But I just was so convinced that this song needed to be made. So I messaged a friend of mine. His name is Josh Sahunta. He's a good friend, and he was going to be moving to Nashville in about 3 weeks. He was a local artist and friend of our family's, and we'd actually just had he and his wife and daughter over for dinner not long before, like within a month of that trip for me. And he actually, is an amazing songwriter himself. He's been nominated for a Juno, which is the, Canada's version of the Grammys, and just incredibly talented. But one of his talents is actually producing. So I messaged Josh and I said, "Hey Josh, I'm in Nashville and I need a favor." And that message led to him reaching out to Seth, the artist. And when Josh moved to Nashville, they got together. I think they went for coffee or whatever, and chatted. And this song has now been made. So through a series of events that led to this Canadian mom being in the Country Music Hall of Fame Songwriter Showcase that morning, you can now listen to this song. So I would really love it as a favor to me if you would go and just give the song a listen, and if you would share it if it touches your heart. Share it with someone who's needing hope with addiction, who's maybe overcome addiction, and you just want to share with them how proud you are of them, and that you see them in their struggle, or that you see what they have overcome. Or if you are struggling with addiction or have struggled, then I just ask that you go and give this a listen. I'm going to put the link for the song in the description below. It is just incredibly important that this song reach as many people as possible, I believe, because I think it has the power to give people hope, and hope is everything sometimes. So, yeah, I have gotten through that story without tears. I can feel them. I'm fighting them. But I hope that you will do me that favor and go and share this song with anyone that you know that you think needs to hear it. The song is called First of Many by Seth Costner, produced by Josh Sahunta. And that is my Nashville story. Okay, I did that very badly, but it's done, and done is better than perfect around here. So because we're using this for that omelette filling, we're going to want to cube it actually quite small. So I'm just going to cube it small, put it in a bowl, and set it aside, and then it can just stay in the fridge for a day or two until I get those sage leaves that I can roast with it. And when I go to roast it, it's just all going to go in the oven, get roasted together. I will drizzle it with some olive oil, and when it's done, I'm going to just portion it into quart-sized freezer bags, and I am going to store them so that it's easier to get out like a one omelet portion. You could also put them into like 2 tablespoon silicone molds. I wouldn't recommend necessarily doing it in an ice cube tray. I have ice cube trays. I don't have a smaller silicone mold than a 1 cup, but the ice cube trays, unless you have a silicone one, I feel like it's going to be hard to get them out because they're not very saucy. So that's why I would recommend just doing them in the quart size bag and scoring them, and or doing them in a really small silicone mold. So we have our butternut squash all ready to be roasted with our sage, and we're gonna move on to some beets. This is gonna be really, really easy, although peeling beets, there's no real way to speed that up for you. If you know a trick, let me know in the comments. Again, we're gonna be using our compost bowl here. I did grab a smaller knife. Oh, this is a surprise. Oh my word. I'm so ridiculously excited. I had no idea. This is a candy cane beet. Do you see that? Oh my goodness. See, like, I was telling Christy the other day that maybe we shouldn't do this CSA next year since we're so bad at it. Like, we're bad at it. Oh, I have to come and show you again. Look at this beautiful beet. Oh. Do you see that? Okay, we're bad at the CSA because sometimes we forget to go get it. I'm gonna peel it rather than cut it. Okay, sometimes we forget to go get it, and Christy and I have been equally bad at that this year. Like other years when we've done this, it'll be like I'm the one that forgets, not usually her. But this year we've both had so much going on that we've been equally bad at picking up the CSA. Now, when we forget to pick it up, because it's on Thursdays that you pick it up, when we forget to pick it up, it goes to the food bank. So we don't feel badly about that at all. We've just been like, oh, well, there's some families that have felt blessed this year with some really beautiful fresh produce. So it's fine, but it does make you feel like maybe we're not so good at this when we forget to pick it up. And then when we did remember to pick it up, but then didn't use it because we were both just, it sounds silly to say we're too busy to like peel our produce, but honestly, like today is the first day in a while that I've had time to just breathe. So yeah, and it's not all been, sometimes life is like that because it's like stressful things, like you've got illness or you've got, you know, issues going on that are stressful. For me, I mean, work is always work, and kids, I have a lot of them, so that's always a thing. But it's been more actually that we've had good things going on lately. Ooh, very exciting news. One of our sons got engaged, and you have heard me talk, if you've been here before, you've heard me talk about his girlfriend before, because she's so awesome and we love her so, so, so very much. And she's felt like part of the family really since the first time we met her. So this is just great news. He actually got her a puppy the same day that he proposed. So we've kind of been joking, like one major commitment wasn't enough. They had to go and do two, but we're just thrilled. So that's great news. But that means that this Saturday I'm going dress shopping with her and, you know, her mom and things. But I'm so, like, I just feel so privileged that she asked me. I am like so thankful. Their engagement party's coming up, an extra thing. Again, so good. These are good news things. This past weekend, my husband and I went with another couple that we're friends with and went to the mountains, and we did an epic hike. It was, well, it could have been a 10-hour hike, but we didn't do the very, we got to this, there's this part where there's this cabin and pond sort of in, I don't really know how to describe it, but like there's a view of this glacier across the way, and you're just a panoramic view of mountains on every side. It's the most beautiful thing. And it had like fall colors happening, the very end of the fall colors, because it also had a lot of snow. So it was a 1 hour drive from where we were staying in the mountains to get to the hike. And then it was 7 hours for the hike and then a 1 hour drive back. So that was like a 9 hour adventure. And it was fantastic. It was so great. I can tell you that my legs are pretty sore this week. It was not the easiest hike I've ever done, but it was one of the most beautiful. So it's a place called Jumbo Pass. The hike we did is called Jumbo Pass, and it's up near Panorama, which is in British Columbia, Canada. And yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous, and it was a great weekend, but made it so that I didn't have time to peel vegetables because I was hiking a mountain. So there's, like I said, it's not always like been difficult things. It's some like good, amazing, wonderful things. And another thing, I don't think, I'm bad at peeling beets. That's okay. We can't all be good at everything, right? One thing that I don't think I have mentioned to you guys is, maybe I have. If I have, fast forward this part. But soon, in less than a month, today it's 1 day less than a month, my husband and I are going to go to Costa Rica, and we're going to renew our vows. We've been married a long time, and this vow renewal is something we've talked about doing probably since really the first year. Neither of us really loved our wedding. We were young, and it was one of those things where we sort of let other people make all the decisions and didn't really know what we wanted, I guess, or weren't old enough or strong enough or sure enough to say what we wanted anyway. And then to top everything off, that was way back before digital photos, and the way the photos were developed, they ate themselves. So about a year after we got married, the photos started from the outside in to like crumble in and eat themselves. At the time, I was hoping it wasn't a bad sign about where the marriage was heading. But anyway, 29 years later, I think I can say that it was not a bad sign. It was not anything untowards. It was just, they were developed wrong. But as a result, we don't really have wedding photos. So that's another one of those things that we've thought it would be nice to have wedding photos. So we're doing like the whole thing. We're going to go, and I have a dress, like a real dress, and my husband's going to have a suit, and we're going to get married in the rainforest, or remarried to each other. Vow renewal. Anyway, so that's another thing that has been making life busy in a great way, because yesterday I went to the seamstress to have my dress altered, and I last week tried to find shoes, but I have teeny tiny feet. I think a size 5 is big on me, but I can fit a size 5, but it's really, really hard to find a size 5 in heels or in wedges or anything like that. So after going to 2 different malls, including a giant one, I ended up having to order shoes on Amazon because it's kind of the wrong season to get like wedge sandals or whatever. And because it's a tropical vacation, that's what I wanted. So I now have shoes and I have a dress, and the dress is being altered. But again, extra things in my life, good things, but make it so that I don't have time to peel beets. I didn't expect for today to be such a chatty video, but I feel like it's been a while since you and I hung out. So I'm chatty today. You can fast forward and use the timestamps if you don't want the chatty. And if you do, then come hang out with me and I will tell you about vow renewals and son's engagement and mountain hikes. Oh my goodness, this is just the best day. I have happened upon a golden beet. Look, it's a golden beet. It's like in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, when they found the gold ticket. Like, I found in the bag, and there's only one, a golden beet. This is going to be the best ever. I have candy cane beets. I have golden beets. I have regular beets. Okay, I only have one golden beet, but maybe in the other bag there will be some more surprises. So this has been a pretty good day. Like, oh, it just does not get much better than candy cane beet, golden beet, beets. I love beets, but you know, now I'm like, should I have made a beet salad instead? Because this would be a pretty beet salad. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna do what I was originally gonna do with them, which is not much. So our plan for the beets, whether they're golden or candy cane or whatever, is first I'm gonna separate them, because I've learned from experience that if you put regular beets in with your candy cane beets and you freeze them and then you go to cook them, your candy cane beets no longer look candy cane. They just take on the color of the other beets, because the other beets have such a strong color. So I'm definitely going to separate out the different kinds of beets into different bags, and I'm just going to cut them into fairly big pieces, and I'm going to add a little bit of pepper, maybe a bit of salt, and some olive oil, and put them into quart-sized bags. They'll be totally ready to roast that way. And I'm seeing if I can find another golden beet, because I kind of think this one might be it. And that way, on the day I go to make them, I can make them into a beet salad if I want. Because these candy cane ones would make such a pretty beet salad, or combine them with the golden beets. Like, just life doesn't get much better than that. And I can add some seasonings in there if I want to just do some roasted beets. I can add in some goat cheese. I can add in some orange zest. Like, really, with beets, the sky's the limit. You can do all kinds of fresh herbs, but I can decide that on the day of, depending on what I'm using them for. So I might use some for Thanksgiving. I might use some for Christmas. I might use some just for a regular weeknight meal, just to have with, you know, with one of those proteins that we were talking about, and to have a good side with that. This is the worst peeler, vegetable peeler. I've had it for maybe as long as I've been married, and when my neighbor Christy comes and cooks with me, she often complains and threatens me that she's going to buy me a proper, I don't know what a proper vegetable peeler would be like, but she does say that someday she's going to buy me a proper one. So who knows? Maybe for my birthday this year I'll get a vegetable peeler. Kind of hoping not, because there are more exciting things to get for your birthday, like a book, a London fog. What else? Oh, pens. You want to buy me something that I like for my birthday? Pens. I like pens. Not even fancy pens. Papermate's pretty good. I just like pens. I'm like a pen and paper girl, you know, just like, I know I work on the computer, but I do a lot of things with pen and paper. I still write a lot of lists. Oh my goodness. I'm bad at this. Maybe it's not the vegetable peeler that's the problem. All right, so I found another golden beet. So we're up to 3 golden beets, and I strongly suspect this next one and that one right there are golden beets too. Goldens. So we might have 4 or 5, maybe even 6 golden beets, enough for their own little baggie. I'll tell you that much. So, okay, I'm gonna keep peeling and chopping, and I'll speed this part up so that you don't have to listen to my musings. But thanks for hanging out with me today. Look how beautiful. Food can can be fun. Okay, we're gonna get this put into a separate bag from our golden beets. Gonna add some olive oil, a little bit of pepper, and maybe a little bit of salt. Get those in the freezer, and I'm also going to go and check on our sweet potatoes. I'm gonna do that by sticking a fork in them and seeing how soft they are. The reason that I did the regular colored beets last is because they're gonna stain everything. They've already stained my hands. They have stained the cutting board for sure. The knife looks like this, and now, you know, I'm using the peeler on them. So if I had done these ones first and those beautiful golden and candy cane beets last, then they would have been stained from these beets. So love beets, don't love the staining. However, if you wanted to like dye your garment a different color, you could take the peelings from the beets and make fabric dye. So there is that, handy handy. You could probably make paints. Actually, you can for sure make paints. When my kids were younger, we used to make paints with different things because I was homeschooling, and so sometimes we make paints with like flowers, just as a science experiment, not because we didn't have paints. But there'd be nothing wrong with making your own for whatever reason. So, okay, we're gonna put these in a separate bag. So we've got our goldens, our candy cane, and these ones, and eventually we will be done our beets. I did realize, but I didn't realize it until I was on this last set, that it's actually faster, and I know this from other freezer meal type things, I just hadn't transferred the knowledge over to peeling beets, but it's faster if you do it like one thing at a time. So if I do all the cutting, so I trimmed all the ends off and then moved on to peeling all of them, and that's a lot faster than like trimming the end off one and then peeling it and then trimming the end off the other, you know, which is what I did with the other beets. So we're gonna get things moving pretty quickly here. Oh, you know what? As I said that, I realized I'm not being efficient again, because I should peel them all and then quarter them all. That would be a better use of my time. So, okay, by the time I finish the beets, I'll have figured out the system. And thankfully I can pass that system on to you so that you can know it before you start your beets. I probably should have worn gloves or something, because tomorrow I'm going to be filming some overhead videos, and I'm probably going to look, well, I'm probably going to have fingers like that in those videos. Oh well, it's not the end of the world. I think if there was an award for the slowest beet peeler, it would be me. I do like to watch the patterns emerge though as you peel them. Kind of looks very cool. Looks like some kind of retro wallpaper. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands and then we're gonna quickly do the olive oil thing, and then the beets will finally be done. All right, so just a splash of olive oil in each bag. And some pepper. Sea salt. Then we'll just shake it around in the bag. Then you want to get as much air as you can out of the bags so that they don't end up with freezer burn. And as simple as that, we've got beets ready to go. And now that you've seen how slow I am at cutting and peeling, you can understand why on a regular weeknight when things are super, super busy and, you know, wrangling kids and work and trying to clean the kitchen, like all the things, it's difficult for me to come up with a side and then to actually execute it. So this way, with these all ready to go, I can pull this out when I pull out my protein in the morning, and then I can throw them in to roast, or roast them and throw them into a salad, or whatever, you know, whatever suits my fancy that day, or whatever works well with whatever protein I chose. And then we can have these for dinner. And I'm sure at least one of these bags is going to be kept in the freezer until the holidays, and it'll make a super easy holiday side. All right, so we've got our sweet potato that's been just cooked in the oven, taken out of its skin, and I'm just gonna kind of rough chop it here a little bit. There is an actual recipe for this. I'll put it in the description down below. It's my semi-famous sweet potato casserole that I've been making for holiday meals forever and ever and ever. So we want to add some butter, and it's best to do this part. It's best to do this part when it's still warm, so that the butter will melt. And some Cajun seasoning, some pumpkin pie seasoning. See, that's the trick to this recipe. It's like that contrast between the sweet and spicy. Now the spicy is not that spicy. We are going to add some red pepper flakes too, but because the pumpkin pie spice gives like that really savory, sweet, like fall thing, and then you've got the red pepper flakes and the Cajun seasoning, just gives such a nice contrast. It's so different from the usual. And we're also going to add some brown sugar. And I'm going to mix it right in here with my masher. I really like this masher. Sometimes I'm not always that patient and have taken my sweet potato out of the oven before it's cooked enough, and so I've gone through a few of these mashers. This is number 3. Because if you try to mash things that are not cooked, it doesn't survive. Now this time I'm making it directly into the casserole dish, and I would say with this one, about half the time I do make it directly in the casserole dish, and then I'm actually just going to put this whole thing in my freezer. The other option is you can do it into a bowl and then transfer it to a freezer bag, or you can do it in a foil container if you don't want your casserole dish to be sort of held hostage in your freezer. So all very good options. The other thing that's great about this recipe is it works super well in individual portions. So if you are cooking for 1 or 2, then you would want to mash this together in a pot or a bowl. You could even double or triple it, and then you can portion it out into smaller portions. You can either portion it with your protein right into one of those microwave-safe, freezer-safe containers. They're kind of like your own TV dinner. So then you could have your protein, your sweet potatoes as your starch or as your vegetable. You could also add, some rice or another vegetable in there, and then you'd have your full dinner ready to go. The other thing you can do is put it into small foil trays ready to go in the oven, or you can put it into quart-sized freezer bags. Either way, this is a great side for 1 or 2. Side dish number 2 is finished. Now I'm gonna clear everything down here, and then I'm actually gonna go and make myself some lunch. I have an individual Marry Me chicken orzo that I'm just gonna quickly cook up on the stovetop for my lunch, and then I actually have to get back to work. So I'm going to set the side dishes aside for today.